Good morning, SKN. I'm Jamie Morris.
And I'm Cortensia Carty.
We want to say thank you for joining us for another edition of GMSKN today, especially the folks in St. Martin who are new to the list of viewers that we have. All right, we move on to the latest in local news at this time. This from SKNIS. A national interfaith Thanksgiving service in celebration of the 75th anniversary of the founding of the University of West Indies, UE, was held in St. Kitts at the Wesley Methodist Church on Tuesday, March 28, 2023. Head of the UE Open Campus, St. Kitts and Nevis, and a UE alumna, Mrs. Gail Gray Phillip, brought remarks from the Vice Chancellor of the UE, Sir Hilary Beckles. Sir Hilary said, quote, "It is with a profound sense of pride and optimism that I greet you all. I must express, first of all, my gratitude to each one of you for being here to share in this special occasion as we commemorate the 75th anniversary of our beloved University of the West Indies," end quote. He emphasized, quote, "Our national, regional, and global visibility has never been higher," end quote. Sir Hilary also said, quote, "The theme for our 75th anniversary is Rooted, Ready, Rising. We are rooted in the fundamental belief that we are here to serve, ready to meet any challenges ahead, and ever rising in stature, visibility, and reputation." Quote.
As we continue now, a press release by the Nevis Island Administration. The Nevis Island Administration, NIA, has once again extended the deadline for bids on the drilling phase of Nevis geothermal energy project. The Honorable Mark Brantley, Minister of Energy in the NIA, said, and quote, "The geothermal project has been proceeding apace. We have indicated that the building process on the production well drilling phase has been extended to March 9th, 2023. That has since been further extended to April 9th, and so we are waiting for those bids," end quote. Once the bidding process is closed, all bids would be evaluated and then the necessary approvals obtained with respect to awarding a contract. That evaluation period is expected to last 6 months, and drilling is anticipated to commence within a period of 6 months from the signing of the contract. The drilling phase of the geothermal project is being funded by the CDB, which approved US $17 million for the drilling of the 3 production wells and 2 injection wells at the site in Hamilton, Nevis. Premier Brantley said his administration is eager to move forward with this particular development, and it will be transformative for the island of Nevis.
And in other news from SKNIS, the St. Kitts Water Services Department, WSD, held its prize-giving ceremony on March 28th to recognize and celebrate the children who entered the water competition. Minister of Public Infrastructure and Utilities, the Honorable Congress Maynard, thanked the team at the Water Services Department for the work they did during the week of activities in celebrating World Water Day. He said that world leaders congregated at the United Nations for a conference on water because of the pressing issues regarding water on a global scale. Minister Maynard said, quote, "This is why the team here at the Water Services Department decided to engage young people in helping us to spread the message of conservation," end quote. For the door decoration competition, first place was awarded to the Ross Preparatory School, with Beach Allen Primary School in second place and Dean Glasswood Primary School in third place. For the TikTok competition, first place was awarded to Virchals High School, and second place going to the Washington Archibald High School, and third place was awarded to the Charles E. Mills Secondary School. Congratulations to all of the winners.
Indeed, congrats. Now for your local weather, it's partly cloudy with a high of 81 and a low of 73 degrees Fahrenheit. It's currently 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Take a look at your hourly and weekly weather, and we will return shortly.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Yo, what up? It's your boy N Richie right here at Studio 327. I'm here to give you the promo that you guys need because this is something special for St. Kitts. I'm telling you, tune in to Good Morning SKN, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and on Moen Channel 4. Also, I realize nobody else is doing this. Follow the Good Morning SKN Instagram at Good Morning SKN and the Studio 327 Inc. Instagram. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. This is pretty long, but follow us and yeah.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. You are in time for our regional news segment. This from Loop Caribbean. The United States Department of State published a final rule regarding increases to certain non-immigrant visa application processing fees for Caribbean and other visitors. The increases, published Tuesday in the U.S. Federal Register, will become effective on May 30th, 2023. The State Department said the fee for visitors' visas for business or tourism, that's B1, B2s, and BCCs, and other non-petition-based NIVs such as student and exchange visitors' visa will increase from US $160 to US $185. The fee for certain petition-based non-immigration visa for temporary workers, HL, OPQ, and R categories will increase from US $190 to US $205. The State Department said, adding that the fee for a treaty trader, treaty investor, and treaty applications in a specialty occupation, that's the E category, will increase from US $205 to US $315. The State Department said other consular fees are not affected, but this rule, including the waiver of the 2-year residency requirement fee for certain exchange visitors.
And on the international scene, this from BBC News. Authorities are investigating a group of swimmers accused of aggressively harassing a pod of dolphins off Hawaii's Big Island. Swimming with dolphins is a popular tourist activity in Hawaii, but federal law bans swimming within 50 yards of spinner dolphins, rather. Hawaii authorities said they came upon the 33 swimmers in Hanau Bay, on Sunday during a routine patrol. Drone footage of the swimmers has also been released. The video shared by the Department of Natural Resources in Hawaii shows the swimmers moving towards the dolphins while the animals swim away. The department, in a statement, said the swimmers, quote, appeared to be aggressively pursuing and corralling and harassing the pod, end quote. The federal law banning this activity came into effect in 2021 to protect the dolphins during the daytime and to ensure that they shelter undisturbed in their resting habitat, said the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. With that, we end the latest for today. We'll be back in a moment with more Good Morning SKN.
Good morning, SKN. Wagwan. Yo, it's Ben's Lad coming to you live from Jamaica. You see it already, see me. See me, I say Caribbean people stand up and I love this. This show is very important. You understand me? Yeah, man. Studio 327. Ben's Lad, it's a big up. See me, I say. I'm the whole innocent crew. Yeah, man. More love.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
Good morning. This is Karen of Paris and Zippo from Paris, Vermont. I want to encourage y'all to sign on to Good Morning SKN every morning from 8 to 10 at Studio 327. Thanks.
Good morning, SKN. This is Lyrical. I just want to say blessings to you. There are a happy place in the life if you live in there. A happy place in the life if you live in there. Cause them at a happy place in the life. And they can't change. And they just come out here to do right. So whether day or night, they will never ever change. Blessings, blessings, and blessings.
Greetings, my lovely people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here, morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning SKN. Ciao, bango!
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. To move It's Your Sweet Enough advocacy work into policy, Lake Health and Wellbeing is gearing up to launch an educational video series on health policy change. Joining us now to share some insight into this new initiative are Tricia Blanchett, Advocacy Consultant for Lake Health and Wellbeing, and Latoya Matthew Duncan, the Nutrition Surveillance Coordinator at the Health Promotion Unit of the Ministry of Health. Good morning, ladies. Our pleasure to welcome you back to Good Morning SKN, and welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Thank you so much. We're excited to be here.
All righty. So, ladies, can I have a summary of what this campaign is about?
Well, as you mentioned, we've been championing healthy living for quite some time, but advocacy work does not end with good activities, right? We have to enforce and implement some policies to help the general public. So now we're at that stage where we're educating the public about what health policies can look like on St. Kitts, and we're doing that through Instagram, social media, where persons are. It's a 4-part series where we're going to look at the benefits, how can our government implement some options, because it has been done in other countries. And we're also going to look at, and that's where Latoya comes in, some things that persons can do to take care of themselves, because it's not only about policy change, we have a personal responsibility as well. So it's short and sweet, because you know these social media reels are short, 90 seconds, but it's power packed with information to get the wheels in your mind rolling about health policies on St. Kitts. What can that look like?
All right, so I would imagine that your target audience is the general public. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody, any age.
So absolutely. So it is for everyone. And we've made sure that we've broken it down so persons can understand. Because when we think about policies and taxes, we think money, we think only it applies to adults. But these health policies impact all of us. So it impacts children as well, because we know that there is childhood obesity. That's a huge problem across the Caribbean, even here on the island. And then the adults, the business owners, because it's going to impact how they operate. And then just the ordinary folk, the more mature generation that may be thinking about health more than us who are a bit younger. So it impacts everyone. So it's not age specific. So it gives you the information to think about, you know, I'm a child and there's a policy that is in place. What does that mean for me when I go to school? I'm an adult. What does that mean for me when I go to shop? I'm an older person. What does that mean for me when my caretaker has to buy something or when they're preparing something for me?
Very good considerations.
And Latoya, how does the Ministry of Health play a role in this?
Well, the Ministry of Health for years partnering with Lake Health and Wellness with many health initiatives, and we are extremely excited to get an NGO partnering with us, because for several years and even for decades, the Ministry of Health, as well as various government ministries, government organizations, we have been promoting for the use of, for the assistance of the general public and NGOs, because health is not solely based on the Ministry of Health, the government themselves, but it's also the public responsibility, it's a family responsibility, it's a community responsibility, it's an individual responsibility. So we are extremely excited to have an NGO like Lake Wellness to partner with on health policies.
It almost sounds like you're happy to share the burden.
Oh, of course. Excited.
But it is a burden because, you know, there is an NCD crisis. We can't run away from that. A non-communicable disease crisis on St. Kitts. Like the latest results, 80% of deaths are caused by disease that we can, if we take action with our lifestyle, we can prevent the cancers, diabetes, the complications. And so that 80% is too high. And so we're happy to, you know, it's a burden for the Ministry of Health and the government and the health entities, but we're happy to be a voice to address this crisis that's killing us, literally.
Yes, and in several other Caribbean countries, because these problems are not just unique to St. Kitts and Nevis. In several other countries, they have had successful stories after partnering with NGOs. We do have various countries such as Barbados have quite a bit of health NGOs that are actually taking on, like you said, the burden of health and actually getting a lot of good practices, real good results, getting the attention from the public. And so this is what we really need. It's a burden, NCDs, and we really need everybody on board to assist with this.
Can I just be specific when I'm speaking about health policies? So there are different health policies, right? We know about alcohol, taxes, and things like that. But when we think about sugar and sweet beverages, we're really advocating for a sugar sweetened beverage tax or a levy. So that means that we're advocating for implementing just a higher cost on the sweetened drinks and the foods that aren't so healthy, so that you would be compelled to buy the more affordable options, which would be the healthier options.
I need to ask you, that cost, How much higher are we talking?
So it depends, and that's where the Ministry of Health would come in, because they're doing their focus groups, they're doing their connections with PAHO, they're dealing with the World Health Organization to make sure that the cost of living for St. Kitts, that is taken into consideration when they're implementing that levy. And then we are also advocating for front of package warning labels. So that means when you go to the store, we want to see on a drink high in sugar, high in fats, so that you're not going to be looking at the ingredients when you're shopping, right? So when you see that at the front, it's going to be like, hold up, should I buy this? You're going to think twice to really purchase it. And so when you think about those two things that we are advocating for, you really think that it's a culture shift.
Yes.
It impacts a lot. It impacts a lot because that impacts the vendors, the store owners, how we shop, right? And how we engage with food when we're in the stores, and so it's important for us. That's why we're doing this series, to educate persons about the benefits. Because when I think about tax, sometimes I just think money. But it's more than more than a financial cost. It's really about driving behavioral change. And St. Kitts, we want St. Kitts and Nevis to be on board, because Bermuda, Barbados, as Latoya would have shared, Grenada just a few months ago have implemented these. Mexico has led the way, and we want St. Kitts to be on that progressive train with all of these islands that are saying with their actions that the health of the country is important.
Yes.
So with the SSBs, how has the business community responded to this form of advocacy? Because they are going to lose money, as we would know, because people may not purchase these drinks anymore. How have they responded to this?
So before we came here to speak about educating the public, we've advocated and we've communicated with the cabinet, with the government. We've also had communication with the business community, and it's been tough, right? It's tough, and we are having those honest conversations. I know that previously, earlier, before I entered the consultancy space, that those conversations took place, and some good feedback came in that we have taken to the Ministry of Health to consider, because we want all of the voices, their concerns, very real, to be brought to the fore when we're speaking with PAHO and the others to determine what that can look like for St. Kitts. So they've been honest, as you can imagine, but we haven't shied away from them giving us their direct feedback. And we want persons, when they look at the series, whatever space you find yourself in, let us know in the comments, in the DMs, because we capture those and we pass that on, because that's real information from a real person. That's just not our thoughts and feelings. That information matters when we see it in writing.
And additionally, we have also been looking at the countries who have already implemented it and trying to find the best possible solution, shall I say, the way forward for St. Kitts and Nevis, by looking at our sister countries and determining how can we avoid certain mistakes. Because when you look at front of package labeling, you're looking at consumer health, you're looking at health literacy, and this is some of the things that persons tend to have doubts when it comes to St. Kitts and Nevis. But something like the front of package packaging label would actually put a big, create a large awareness campaign without actually having to go to the general public so much to say, well, this is what it is, this is what it is. Persons know what SALT is, persons know what SUGA are. So once you see it in front there, you either see it in red, or you see high, or you see low, you know what it means to be high, you know what it means to be low. So this would definitely help a lot with what the NGOs have been doing, as well as the Ministry of Health and other partner ministries.
All right, so you mentioned doubt. So it seems as though you've decided on this simple front of label packaging to allay those doubts, to allay those fears, or were there other doubts that came to the fore?
Well, there are always doubts when it comes to implementing health initiatives. You will always have the persons who are the yay and the nay. You'll always have the trained section and the non-trained section. But this is actually a global initiative. And so most countries, in order to really get this moving forward, it would have to be, it have to be a team effort. You know, when I say team, I'm not only speaking in St. Kitts and Nevis, but also with the rest of the country, globally, the other countries, what they are looking for. Because the front of packaging label, you have multiple versions of it. So currently, they are trying to find the best possible one in order to help consumers to choose healthy. Because the thing with food selection, other persons tend to forget that persons do have a choice. And at the end of the day, it's up to that individual to determine what they are going to eat, what they are going to consume, what they are going to purchase. And so we are trying to empower them in two ways to determine whether or not, if I decide that I want to eat something high in fat, I know it's high in fat, so I'm going to purchase that. However, I'm trying to be a little bit more health conscious, a little bit more health oriented, so I want to purchase something that says low in sugar. So we are empowering individuals in both ways. We are empowering them to make a choice.
That's good, that's good.
The health policy on restricting the marketing of SSBs to young children. Let's talk about that. How's that been received?
So, you know, children are so impressionable. And we've seen a lot of ads. We've seen really great success stories in Mexico where they have they've done healthy ads, and that has helped. So we're looking at that similarly. That is something that we're hoping that our children, when they go on they go on the media, especially local media, that they can relate to. Not related to the You're Sweet Enough campaign is another leg of addressing childhood obesity of Lake Health and Wellbeing. So there's a rollout most recently about eating your fruits and veggies and that being your snacks. It's snack time. That's what the campaign is called. They've piloted it in the Seventh-day Adventist primary school. So it's a full program about just health literacy for children, and that's important. And then we're going to take that to the media as well. So after that success rate, the next steps, I know there's a team that handles that they would roll that out to general public. But we're looking at educating our children. We think about the media, we're thinking about really large words that they can relate to, not the big words. We're thinking about exciting characters, colorful, dramatic in nature. And they were thinking about short jingles, and that's what has been incorporated within that campaign. So children, you know, when we listen to TikTok, the songs are in our heads no matter where we go. So something similar for children, almost like, you know, a jingle that they can always sing when they're playing or whatever, that drives home the message. And it's important because there is a childhood obesity challenge throughout the Caribbean, throughout the world. And that's scary because children don't feed themselves as well, right? But children also have a choice, as Latoya would have mentioned, that choice aspect when they buy their snacks, or, you know, when they ask their parents what they want to eat, or when they're pushing away the healthy foods or what's not. So we want to give them that power even as little ones, even as in the primary school level, to really think about my health.
As you said, the children, they really don't play a part in feeding themselves because they don't work. So how do we get the adult to understand? Because most adult will buy the juice because it all depends on the money you make as well. So we really can't blame them. They'll buy the cheapest juice, and that is the sweetest juice. So how can we speak to the adults so that they can ensure that they don't put this on these kids, because then maybe they start them from since they're 1 or 2 at home, that's their snack time, and then the kids will continue. How can we advocate with the adults to stop doing this? Look for healthier choices. Latoya?
Well, I'll leave that for Latoya. She's a
nutrition
guru.
What I think, like you said, children are extremely impressionable. They can also be change agents.
Yes.
Once ago, the trend was where the children tend to listen to the parent. Everything was already parent, but now things are changing where you actually have children who are influencers, and they also can influence their parents. They go to their supermarket with their parents, they look to see what's inside of the fridge, they have access to various social media content, and sometimes it's not always negative. So you can have children who actually can assist parents in choosing healthier options when it comes to purchasing food items. For example, it's snack time. You teach the children what is appropriate healthy snacks. You give them the alternatives to the snacks they know already, and then you can have these children being the change agents and going back to their parents and saying, well, mommy, daddy, auntie, grandmother, auntie, whomever, it's more appropriate for me to probably have an apple instead of Cheetos for snacks. It's healthier if I have a boiled egg instead of having let's say a hot dog sausage or Vienna sausage, for example. So you use the children them to get the message across. And the thing about children, especially the younger they are, they like to enforce positivity. Okay, so once you can really give the rationale and show the children this is something positive, you find a way to bring it over to them where they understand and it's something that they want to run with. That's how you can use children. And I think we definitely need to start using children as some of the vessels for health initiatives. You know, as much as some of us, I'm going to say us because we are all adults here, and we are already set, you know, in certain ways. So change is one of the biggest things to bring about. But when you have persons who are still navigating their way of life, children as early as 3, 4, they already know what they like. The palate start adapting. Once you start teaching them certain lifestyle skills, and I say lifestyle because that is what health should be, a lifestyle. Once you start laying that foundation, they are going to go with it because that is what they know. So when we start to use children delivering positive messages, like with it is snack time, then we can help them to then teach their parents on what it is supposed to be.
Can I also share something that we've seen work within one of our sister islands, Jamaica? So, you know, just a few months ago, we had the Jamaica Heart Foundation speaking about their great initiative around healthy lifestyles. And what they've done, they had a campaign about alternative options to eating. So instead of this, we're going to get this. I think that's what parents, when they're thinking about providing for their families and their children, you want to think about. So this is what we love, but what's a healthier option? That's a good question. And sometimes we'd realize that the healthier option is in our garden, or neighbor has it, it's cheaper in the market. It's something that we take for granted. We use it all the time. So we want persons to ask that question: what's a healthy alternative to this option? And if that is a healthy option, great. But if it's not, then how can I be curious about something else and trying it out with the child? Make a game around it, I guess. Like, you know, we're eating oats today, you know, something fun for the children, because you know they love that excitement, those games when it comes to food. I'm not a parent, so I don't know. So, but think about what is a healthier option to what I usually eat, and start there.
All right, so very quickly, we're looking forward to the 60-second reels, focusing on 4 key themes. There's one that stands out to me, and I do need to speak to it directly. The benefits of implementing sugar-sweetened beverage tax. The benefits. What are those benefits? How do you sell it?
You have to watch the reel. That's the question we cover. Okay. But I'll speak on 2.
Yes.
So we have seen that many governments who have implemented these levies, the monies that they have collected, because obviously that money has to go somewhere, they have redirected into public health programs. So they've built programs to keep that health focus going in the community. That is something that we would like to see in St. Kitts, but as Lake Health and Wellbeing, that's outside of our scope. But we've seen that government redirect it into the healthcare system. So that is something that is a benefit, because the money goes back into health. And that's something that persons want to know: where would the money go? Right? And that is something that when, I guess, it's rolled out and implemented, that's a good question to ask as well. When it's concrete, where would the money go as well? And then we've also seen just the uptick in persons buying more healthier options, because it's expensive to buy the unhealthy options. So we've seen that it has driven positive behaviors. So we're hoping for a similar outcome here on St. Kitts. You know, we're a bit tough in St. Kitts, but we're hoping for, over time, a similar uptick. And then we've also seen that it has educated persons. A lot of us, we learn about health when we're sick, when we have to. We only care about health when it impacts us. So it really continues the education message about taking full ownership of your own health. It's not just the government's responsibility, the civil society's responsibility, like Lake Health and Wellbeing. It's also my responsibility. So those are 3 of the benefits I've given you, but you have to watch the video because we're going to bring it on in a nice, creative way.
Yes, nice. And even additionally to add to that, St. Kitts and Nevis Public Health is one of our major platforms in which we try to push to keep our population healthy. Unfortunately, the Ministry of Health or the health system, it's not a revenue generating ministry or organization. However, we still have to keep our population healthy.
Yes.
So we still have to ensure that we have certain services, we have certain resources, we have certain infrastructure, and we don't generate the income for that. So one of the ways the policy will help directly with that is if we have a healthier population. If we have a healthier population, people consuming less sugar, then the burden of having to buy medication for the public, building additional health facilities, providing additional services and resources to assist persons who have to manage these conditions, it would reduce significantly. Hence, the payment for those that the government have to be responsible for will also reduce.
Okay, now I get the excitement. I understand it a little more in tangible terms. All right, so the videos, when and where will they be released? Because you're telling me I have to wait until...
Okay, so it's 4. We've launched the first one. It's on our social media, Lake Health and Wellbeing. Follow us on social media. We always say that. And then you'd see a link to our website. There's a blog post about it for those who love the words. And so it's also going to be on our YouTube pages. So you can view it. It's literally 60 seconds, 90 seconds the most, but it's under 2 minutes, right? So quick and easy. And you can go back and replay it. You can share it. And we want those comments. We want your engagement because we want to know, did it land? Do you understand? Do you have questions? That is something that we can build on. So we're encouraging persons. The next one is going to come out next week. The first one came out this week. Next week, there's another one. And then every week following, we're going to have a new reel addressing each question, the challenge, the benefit, the response of the general public, and why now? Why are we speaking about this now? 4 major questions around health policies.
Well, ladies, I definitely want to thank you for taking the time to speak to us all about health, our health. I'm sharing the burden. It's our health. I get the message, and I'm looking forward to the policies, the feedback that you get as you work towards implementation. So thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for watching. We'll be back in a moment with more GMS Game.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
Yo, what up? It's your boy and Richie right here at Studio 327. I'm here to give you the promo that you guys need because this is something special for St. Kitts. I'm telling you, tune in to Good Morning SKN, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and on Moen Channel 4. Also, I realize nobody else is doing this. Follow the Good Morning SKN Instagram at Good Morning SKN and the Studio 327 Inc. Instagram. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. This is pretty long, but follow us and yeah.
Today is globally acknowledged as World Bipolar Day. The vision of this day is to bring world awareness to bipolar disorders and to eliminate social stigma. Here with us is Michelle Delacadre-Blake, Director of the St. Kitts National Counseling Center, and we are going to acknowledge this day, of course, with a conversation about what it means to be bipolar and all the other things associated with it. So thank you very much for joining us, Michelle.
Okay, good morning to you again. It's nice to be here again.
Awesome. Always great to have you here. I know we have very fascinating discussions and conversations with you. Let's start with a simple definition of bipolar disorder.
Okay, bipolar disorder. If you don't mind, before we start, could I just give a little bit of context of the
Certainly.
World Bipolar Day? Right, okay. So there is a famous picture called Starry, Starry Night, and it will come up on the monitor just now. So Starry, Starry Night, here it is, was painted by a Dutch painter that we all know the name, Vincent van Gogh.
Yep.
He was born in the 1850s, I think. Vincent van Gogh was posthumously diagnosed as bipolar, all right, with having bipolar. Of course, back in that time, that wasn't a concept that anybody was aware of. Psychology and psychiatry was not at the level it was now. So there was not a definition, there was not a name to his disorder. But he painted this from what they termed back then from an asylum. So it means that obviously this was one of the times when he was in, and part of the phase that was perhaps depressive, right? And so he was in an asylum, and he painted this famous painting, The View from His Asylum. Of course, we don't call it asylum anymore, and we talk about mental health institutions and hospitals, but this is it. So his birthday is 30th March, and so they've decided to bring awareness to bipolar, you know, as a result of that. So Starry, Starry Night, yeah.
Okay.
You look at it differently every time you see it now.
Naturally.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what are the signs of bipolar disorder? And I'm also going to ask, if you have a bipolar parent, is it possible that you to yourself can have some of the trait?
Okay, so let me now backtrack to what you are asking, which is the definition, right? So then we get into that later. So we hear people all the time sort of dilute the definition of bipolar. You know, people would say, oh, you know, he was acting so good today and not so good tomorrow. He must have bipolar. So there's a diluting of what it is. And we, you know, you're nodding, so you obviously hear those things being said. Bipolar disorder was previously called manic depression. Okay, but again, as things change and evolve, the name changed. Bipolar is a serious mental health disorder that is marked by groundbreaking shifts in a person's mood, in a person's energy, in a person's activity level, in a person's ability to concentrate. The shifts are so groundbreaking that are so, you know, just profound, I should say, that it interferes with their ability to do normal things. So to go to work, to sustain relationships, to sustain friendships, right? And the shifts are usually evident for weeks up to months, all right? So in the manic phase, which is the sort of highs, the person has all of this energy, unnatural energy. You know, you could stay up all night, you could clean your house all night, and then when you finish that, you could just get up and go. You go running, you could just be creative, you just could shop all night. And then weeks and weeks of lows where you absolutely can't move out of your bed. So just very extreme shifts that make it difficult for a person to function. So that is the sort of basic definition of bipolar disorder.
Yes. So now that you said that, I have to backtrack on my question I asked before. I have heard of bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. What is the difference amongst the two?
Right. So bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, they just in giving a sort of general response, they speak to things like length of time that is seen and things like intensity. So there are a couple of different things that are identified through medical assessment and psychiatric assessment. But yeah, a couple of different things there.
All right. When we talk about Vincent van Gogh, of course, not being diagnosed, I guess the question that I have for you now is, how do we know if we are bipolar? What is that procedure like?
Well, I just gave some insight into what a person who is experiencing or who has bipolar disorder, how that manifests. So usually there is an observation done by other people. So the observation is that, oh, wait a minute, this person isn't getting out of their house for weeks. They can't go to work for weeks. They can't get up and do the normal things that they're supposed to do. Or, they're just so hyper. They're so energized, just doing everything and not being able to slow down, not being able to power down. So I say that to say sometimes the observation comes from somebody else first who says, this is going on.
Yeah.
But then, of course, there must be some level of self-reflection and self-awareness that comes, all right? So there must be the ability for your own self to recognize that these things are happening. What tends to happen, though, is when people are in these different states, they just sort of go along with the flow. So when they're energized, they get things done, and they feel, like it seems like a positive thing to them.
Yeah.
So it's hard to look at that and say, well, something is wrong with me. And then when you kind of go to the low, they just sort of perhaps look at it as maybe, my body's just been too tired, I just can't move. So sometimes it's not that self-awareness that allows a person to say something is not there.
That's exactly why I asked, because I thought of it in terms of a clinical diagnosis. It's like, how do you get that clinical diagnosis? And everything that you said would be a precursor to that.
Of course, and clinical diagnoses come from just sitting down and getting really thorough histories from the individual, and sometimes there must be history taken from the other people or other settings, so you get a really in-depth picture. But there really is an in-depth process of determining. And as I said, for example, these highs and lows don't just last for today and then tomorrow and back to normal. So there must be patterns of recurring highs and lows that go on for weeks and months, and that interfere with ability to do normal day-to-day things. That's the key thing, interfering with the ability to function normally.
So you mentioned gathering information. I would have asked you before, if one parent is bipolar, does the child, is it passed on to the child in any way?
Right. So there is a nature-nurture aspect of many mental illnesses that is acknowledged as real. And that basically says that when one person, or if one person has a diagnosed and obvious mental health disorder, there is a chance that the offspring may then develop that disorder. So certainly as it relates to bipolar, with one parent having bipolar, there's a 10% chance that a child would have bipolar disorder too. If both parents have bipolar, that jumps to a 40% chance, right? So there is in nature. Now, there are other factors that contribute to the development of a bipolar disorder, or could contribute. So that's the nature. The nurture part of it are environmental or life stressors. People have gone through horrible experiences in life, traumas in life that simply break the self. Yeah. Horrible traumas related to abuses and just horrible situations that they have experienced, and that contributes in some aspect to perhaps the development. Sometimes substance use. Sometimes depends on a person's chemical makeup. Substance use And we're talking about perhaps things like drugs, illegal drugs, marijuana sometimes actually. So, and you know, let me just be careful. I'm not saying that drugs cause. I am saying that there are associations with bipolar to different types of events in a person's life. All right. So, right. Yeah. Yeah.
The nature nurture debate never gets old for me because
nature
everything contributes to something else.
Right. Yes. Absolutely.
As you talk about that, let's talk a little bit about the treatment because I think you kind of indicated some of it. Yes.
Well, we have to start off with saying bipolar. Once a person is diagnosed with bipolar, that is a lifelong diagnosis. That's a lifelong presentation. That the person has it for life. It doesn't go away after a while. And it's important to say that because it means then that there must be an education part of the treatment. So the diagnosis is made, there must be medication management. Medication must be a part of it. Medication must be a part of it. So there must be a medication treatment in the whole treatment options. So there must be medication. There must be education. The person needs to know what bipolar is, how it presents in them, because it presents differently in different people, how it presents in them. They have to be able to recognize signs of when there are perhaps shifts in their mood, in their energy level. They have to be aware. They have to know. And that knowledge and awareness, so that psychoeducation allows for them to prepare for, allows for them to be proactive, allows for them to talk to their resiliences so that they can manage it. So psychoeducation is important. So medication management, psychoeducation and support is also necessary from the family. The family must know what it looks like, because what sometimes tends to happen is without that psychoeducation in the family will say, oh, okay, I think he's going good now because he's helping around the house and going out to work and getting all these things done. And then not realizing that that just may be the manic phase that the person is presenting with. And so the psychoeducation for the family is critically important. It's also important because usually the family or the support system, whatever that is very much involved in helping the person manage, right? Whether it is they themselves recognizing, they themselves perhaps reaching out to support, medical or mental health support if needed, they themselves just providing that environment where the person is able to manage that. So it's important for them. So medication management, psychoeducation for the person, psychoeducation for the family and support from the family. It's also important for them for there to be a therapeutic aspect of this. So we talked about the fact that the person must be aware. What do they do with that awareness? So therapy. A good therapy for that is something called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And CBT allows for the individual to learn to recognize their thoughts, then how those thoughts how those thoughts then filter into their feelings and then their behaviors. So it helps them to recognize the pattern that is associated with their shifts. And so if they can recognize that, then they are able to manage. And really, this is, as I said, lifelong, so it really is about management. Once people are diagnosed with bipolar disorder and they have excellent medication management, there's family support, they understand their illness, they know how to manage themselves, then they can live normal, productive lives. They can work, they can have families, they can enjoy friendships, they can have normal lives. So it's not a death sentence, right? Mm-hmm.
What is the earliest age and what is the oldest age can one be diagnosed with bipolar disorder?
Right. Usually, mental health disorders that are evident in life usually are not diagnosed before perhaps middle adolescence. Okay. And that is because there is so much happening in terms of development and developmental changes from early adolescence, from childhood to early adolescence to middle adolescence, that is difficult to sort of pinpoint the changes and attribute them to mental health disorders. So usually diagnoses for these kinds of things come anywhere around middle adolescence, 15 to 17, when there's more of a stabilizing of the person's personality and stabilizing of the sort of developmental shifts that come with adolescence. So usually around middle adolescence is when you find the diagnosis. Usually with bipolar, it is rare to see it diagnosed after the age of 40.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, usually around middle adolescence. I think, I'm not sure about this, but I think most of the diagnoses are made in the early to mid 20s.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because people are mindful of their behaviors.
Mindful of things, and that's when you should, there are certain things that happen in life around then that start to, a person starts to sort of stabilize themselves in work and family relationships and so on. And sometimes when bipolar disorder is present, it then becomes evident because these things that are typical around this age, are dislodged, basically.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, we want to get the counseling number for, and every time I ask you this, I'm smiling. Because there is a joke associated with what gets me hungry, but anyway.
But Jamie, before you ask that, I want to ask one last question. For somebody that may be going through an episode, is it okay for somebody like me to say, oh, stay calm, remain calm, and just find things for them to do to take their minds off of what is happening to them? Or should we just let them be and then they'll get back to their center?
No. If there's a recognition that something is going on, so when you talk about staying calm, I envision two types of behaviors, as I said, or manifestations going on with bipolar. One is that mania part of it. Now, the mania doesn't typically look, unless you recognize some patterns, it doesn't typically look as problematic.
Okay.
It doesn't typically look as something wrong. You have somebody who is energized, and I could come in here and I could get this done. So in that case, there would hardly be the sort of space to tell a person to stay calm. It doesn't almost fit with the mania part of it.
Okay.
The depression part of it, of course, is the person just low energy and not able to move and so forth. So again, it isn't typically a time when you'd set a person stay calm, right? So the staying calm doesn't necessarily present itself to address either of those states, right? But what you can do if you recognize it is you could perhaps ask the person a question. Do you feel as if I noticed that there is, you're not sleeping and you're not sitting down and you can't concentrate on what you're doing and so forth. Do you feel as if there's something that is going on that you need to perhaps have somebody explore with you? You could bring it as something like that. I've noticed this, I'm noticing this kind of thing. But the thing about staying calm and so forth may not necessarily be a thing that kind of helps in that situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the answer.
Okay.
All right. Back to the famous number.
The number, the famous number. So the number for the National Counseling Center is 465-5000. But I want people to understand that there are different avenues into a system that could help them assess for mental health disorders, including bipolar. So while we're at the counseling center, 465-5000, could help to sort of put those things in place. Sometimes people present to their doctors because, look, I'm just, I feel a kind of, probably in the depressive state.
Yes.
And they present to their doctors, or they may present to their clinics, or they may present to their hospital. So the point is there are different avenues into the potential for making a proper diagnosis, right? And so, yeah. Yes.
All right.
Well, we definitely want to thank you for sharing this
Always
information.
A pleasure.
You're
with
welcome.
us.
You're so welcome.
All right, we'll be back in a moment, everyone. Stay tuned.
Yes.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Yo, what up? It's your boy and Richie right here at Studio 327. I'm here to give you the promo that you guys need because this is something special for St. Kitts. I'm telling you, tune in to Good Morning SKN, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and on Moment Channel 4. Also, I realize nobody else is doing this. Follow the Good Morning SKN Instagram at Good Morning SKN and the Studio 327 Inc. Instagram. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. This is pretty long, but follow us and yeah.
For this month of March, the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College, in collaboration with Peter Adrian, is hosting a 8-week certificate course entitled Money Matters. Here with us today is Peter Adrian, certified business coach, who is here to tell us about the course and his business, Adrian's Coaching and Consulting. So good morning, Mr. Adrian, and it's our pleasure to welcome you to the studio of 327.
Thank you so very much. I feel so delighted. It reminds me of being on Good Morning Barbados.
Oh, how sweet.
On CBC.
Okay, nice.
That's about a few years ago before the virus.
Alrighty, so I want to ask, before I get into the collaboration with the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College, what is a business coach and does it differ to a business advisor?
A consultant the perception is that a consultant is a guru, a great God who comes into a business and he comes with all solutions. A coach is like a teacher. The coach is not the guru. He doesn't accept or he doesn't take the position of a God, but he works with you, just like a cricket coach or football coach. In other words, he works with you to achieve your own goal that you set yourself. So in other words, he is hand-holding. He is walking with you. He's into the pain. He's into the sun and he's into the rain with you. He works with you. It's not about him. It's about you. Whether it is a professional coaching, when I do my executive coaching as a professional, or whether it is your business, it is what is it that you want? Yes.
With the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College, how did that come about?
We have been trying to do that since 2020. While I was at the central bank, I taught freely at CFBC. Fifth formers, or those who are about to do the exam, I would do national accounting with them or the balance of payments. So I would come every year and do that. And we always thought that there is need for a program that targets the community. So a program that targets the community with respect to money management, business management, with respect to wealth creation. Now in 2020, we tried to roll off that program. But you know what? Every time we attempted to do it, the economy was closed because we closed for the virus. So this, in a sense, is our third attempt, and the response is beautiful. What we seek to do, in a sense, is we call it Money, Business, and Finance 101. We seek to bring everybody. In fact, at the course right now, we were oversubscribed, and we had to leave some people for next year. We have no ceiling on age or on certification. We have people, we have the CMO with us actually, the Chief Medical Officer. We have the Postmaster General. We have people from tourism. We have young people from CFBC, from Ross. We have the ordinary people who own their business. So it is quite a heterogeneous group. Now what we do, now it makes it very difficult for you, the coach, because you have to manage and to package that content so that the content does not speak below your class, but it doesn't speak over them. Your activities has to take in a more practical, in other words, it has to speak to their business. So what we did, when I run these courses, I do what we call an orientation. So on the 16th, we had the orientation. The orientation, in a sense, I put them through, I am training the American system with the Fowler School of Business coaching and executive coaching. And you know, the American system, there's a lot of practicality. There's a lot of application. There's a lot of casework. So in the orientation, what we would do 2 bonding exercises. Sometimes it requires dancing, in other words, it's to get you out of your shell and for you to speak. But the primary aim of the orientation is to get from the students what is it that they want out of the course. Originally, we intended to emphasize more money and finance, money management, financial planning. 80% of the students said they want business because they are business owners, and there are a number of them who want to do startups. So I was able to go now to restructure the curriculum, and then our heavy emphasis, although we are dealing with the personal and the household, our heavy emphasis is on business management. So we emphasize money management, business management, and wealth creation.
So I ask you whether these topics reflect what you taught. Understanding the financial markets and money, budgeting and saving, obviously that's applicable, developing a working financial plan, and investing to increase financial security and wealth. So all of these things were actually covered.
In fact, critically, we just begin, you know. Tonight is going to be the second evening. We meet every Thursday, 5 to 7. Okay. We do 2 coaching clinics. The first investment portfolio will teach you how to develop an investment basket that is for you. But let me make a point, critically. The life-changing projects are really life-changing. Let us take, for example, a budget or resolution. Most budgets and resolutions that you and I make are like ropes of sand. Why? Because unless a budget or resolution, even a business, is driven by your personal management, it does not work. Why? Because what drives, whether it is wealth creation, whether it is business management, what drives what you do to become successful, it is your capacity to manage yourself. And what do you mean by manage yourself? What is your aim and aspiration? What is your self-discipline? How does your industry, your entrepreneurial skill, your sense of creativity and innovation, how does that bring to bear on the budget? Let's take the budget simple. We teach in that course, and I'm introducing the budget tonight. The first session, we are doing the business environment. We look at the business environment. We want to establish in St. Kitts, what are the pull factors, the push factors? What is it? What are the sectors that send signals to you? What is it? What does the sector say that what you have in mind, the business idea you have in mind for the startup doesn't make sense? So we want to look at the economy. We want to look at the heartbeat. We want to look at the signals. Where are the signals there? Now, when we come to the budget, the first thing that we establish is without a vision, the budget is useless. In other words, the budget has to speak about you. It must answer the question, what is it that you want? Where are you going next week? Where are you going next month? Where you wish to go next year? That's exactly what you're doing there in Studio 327. You have a vision. You have a worldview. So that vision must be the one. Say, for example, my vision, I left the central bank. I joined the central bank in 1991. I was recruited. I was at Mona, and I could have stayed at Mona. I was offered a job to become a full-time lecturer. I was at postgraduate school, and I was actually offered another job at St. Augustine. But the governor came to the campus, and he said, guys, I have become governor. That's Dwight Vayner. I've become governor of the central bank, and I'm going from campus to campus, asking fellas to come in from the Eastern Caribbean. Let us build something down there, build an infrastructure for developing those countries. I told him I didn't want to come, but short story. I came. When I came, I said, all right, I think I love what I'm doing here. And then they said I did it very successfully. I moved from an economist to become the governor. I was the governor's senior advisor. In fact, there were 3 of us, we could say, who was the 4th persons in the bank. We rose up very nicely. They said I was doing well. But you know what happened? In 2010, in my reflection, my introspection, I said I can't stay in the bank. Despite all the privileges, I got to know the world, and I went to IMF school in Washington, all the privileges, the good salary and whatever. I realized that when it comes to 7 or 8 years, when they ask me to leave the bank, I will have a mortgage of about $1 million. So in other words, you're a pensioner. People see you. They ascribe a great success to you. But you're going to have a big debt on your. My vision become debt free. So I'm bringing that to my budget, to the budget. So you say to your budget now, I tell my students this evening, what is your vision? If your vision is to be debt free, then it means therefore you are emotionally tying yourself to the budget. So you will be able to be driven by the sense to defer present gratification for greater gratification down the road.
Come back from this brief break. More with Peter Adrian in a second. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
Greetings, my lovely people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here, morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning SKN. Ciao, bango!
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We're speaking with Peter Adrian, certified business coach and founder of Adrian's Coaching and Consulting. And on that note, let's talk about Adrian's Coaching and Consulting, sir. Beginning with the timing of the launch and delving into some of the services that you provide.
It's interesting that before I left the bank, since 1994, I had already established my family business. Adrian's, at that time, called Adrian's Enterprise, because you had to do that. If I don't do that, the bank would put me out, because then they would say I'm using their time. So I had to establish a family business. Okay. So under the family business, I did a lot of work. I did work for USAID and whatever. So I was quite known in the Caribbean and to some extent in international agencies. So when I was leaving the bank, I wasn't leaving the bank just going to fish. I was already in the sea, in a sense, but I was doing consulting. Now, in 2010, when I decided to leave, I said, okay, but where do you fit nicely, Peter? Where? Because you are going to give up this big salary, and of course, women are different. My wife was not too happy. I said, you'll be okay. You're going to have good network. Your house will be yours and whatever. But you know, ladies are more in detail. And I said, but where will the money come? Because then I don't have a salary. I have to find my own health insurance. I have to do everything. I left those things. But I have a vision that things going to be better. I'm going to get what I want. I thought of real estate. So I went and got a license in real estate. And then while I was trying to establish my real estate, the jobs still keep on coming, regionally and whatever. In fact, you see this big building over there by the airport, the big white building, it belongs to St.Kitts.
Yeah.
Many people do not know that. I was the consultant. We were supposed to change St. Kitts. We were going to establish the first mall in St. Kitts. Notice the location. That is all a result of part of my research. We have located this building over there in the center of traffic of St. Kitts. Check it out. The Island Main Road, the Frigate Bend Peninsula, and whatever. All road passes there. Yes. Make a long story short, I got $7 million for the company from Development Bank, because I was the advisor and negotiator and prepared the business plan for them, which Development Bank borrowed from Social Security. But I don't want to speak about my clients. Yeah. Something happened, it didn't work as it should. Okay, but this, so in a sense, I was doing well. So I have never sold one property up to now. So I had to go back to the Inland Revenue and tell them. Then SIDF called me, and I stayed in SIDF until 2016. Because when Dr. Timothy's administration came in, he told me, Peter, we want you to stay. We think we're going to close it, but we want you to stay. They kept me there for 1 year, and they treated me well. And then when they decided that they were whatever, we parted. And I had to go to Inland Revenue and tell them, this is the case. I pay my license every year, but I haven't done no business. So what they did, they understood. They have given me a moratorium until 2030. So they don't, but if I get business before that, then I would surrender my tax return. Nice. And because my children are US citizens, then the idea came to me in 2018. It says, look, if something happened to my children, because both of them are in America, and my grandchildren, I want to have a say to be able to prevent people from sending my children into foster care where they want. That's what they do in America. So I said to my children, you need to apply for me. I need resident status. Visitors would not be enough, because that means I cannot contend with the system. Okay. Then when I thought of that, I said, but you know, there is no certification called consultants. Have you ever thought of that? There is no certification. Everybody moonlights as a consultant. But in America, it's a very unique market. Okay. If, for example, my daughter is a lawyer. If you have a license to operate in New York, that doesn't mean you can practice in Michigan. No, sir. You have to get another one from Michigan. Yes. If you're a doctor operating in Atlanta, that doesn't mean you can practice in New Orleans. No. Now, I did my research and I discovered that business and professional coaching is one of the few areas you can be certified for in the American system, and you can practice in any state. So because I'm thinking the possibility is I can be in the States, that's why my children are. And even if I'm not in the States, I would love to have the access, as I said. So I researched the course, and then I got the Fowler School of Business and Executive Coaching. I invested my money. It was a very rough course. You have to, apart from the learning, the teachings, apart from the online discipline, you have to shepherd a business. Yes. You have to shepherd a business. So I had to shepherd a business for a period of time and then send the report. When I send the report, the business that you shepherd, you believe you're going to just get the certificate like that? The business has to send a report. And that's not all. The school calls the business and have an interview. So you can't pass. You have 3 areas of screening that you have to go through. They said I passed with flying colors.
I was going to say, you've obviously tried and tested.
But of course, let's put it together. I had been in business since 1994. And I think from SIDF, I was the one who conceptualized the SEED program. I don't know if you have ever heard of that, the Small Entrepreneurial and Enterprise program. It's an angel investor program. And then we run with it. We have a number of successful businesses. For example, you have Kiwi Dan. She have run crises all in the Caribbean. Wow. Oh yes, I can tell you that. So there are a number of them. So the thing is, I was not bringing to the course newness. And not only that, I'm not a young man like you. I have been around, man. I have taken it hard, and you might be surprised. I'm a school dropout. I know what it is to suffer. I know sufferation. I know what it is. I could not get $19 a term to pay to go to secondary school. And I had to leave school at the age of 13, 14 to take care of my father who was hospitalized because my mother left him.
But I think that those experiences obviously inform who you are now and the drive that you have, which even makes it more beneficial to be trained by you, because not only have you been tried and tested, but you're great in terms of the energy and the interaction.
Thank you. Now for the professional certification now, you have to shepherd a professional. So I had to find a professional. I got one at CFBC and a period of 3 months shepherd. In other words, help them to develop their dream. Help them, in a sense, to clear what is it that they want in life. Set them using the tools that you are given to establish for themselves, if you want, a program that gets them or set them to achieve that dream. And then they would also, I send my report, they will send their report. That's not all. The school will call and interview them.
Somehow I knew that.
So basically, don't believe it's a walkover.
Yes, it is.
You have to work hard for it. But when you are certified, I can practice anywhere in America.
Well, since you've said it, we want to know how people can contact you. So there's your camera, your contact information for Adrian's consulting, coaching and consulting. Tell us what it is. How do we get in touch with you?
My WhatsApp is the number that I use. I always say that I have only one telephone and one mobile. 1-869-668-9752. That does not change. I have done that for years. And my website, I get a lot of it is www.goadrians.com. In fact, once you go on that website, then it's gonna take you to my YouTube channel. I have I do one posting monthly on YouTube channel, and I also do a blog. But my blog is mainly for my people in sports. I'm a sports commentator. In fact, my latest blog went yesterday, where I big up my women, the Women Premier League. That was an exclusive club. That was a showpiece, and therefore I took the men to task in that blog.
You're sending me to go check it out.
You better check it out. It's on the website. It's on the website. I can give you the QR code, but you can do www.goadrians, GOADRIENS.com. And you love that blog because the blog asks the question, "What's your problem, man?" and I make it provocative, and then I look into the whole issue of the gender relation in sports, and even some of the male professionals who have come, I don't mention their name, come to make sure that the disparity is established between female sports and male sports, and then look at the showcase and say, guys, isn't that mirror in society? Isn't that how we treat our princesses and our queens in both business and pleasure?
This is a topic that we might have to discuss at another point in time. So you've definitely whet my appetite, sir. So know that you have. I want to thank you for coming by, of course, and sharing some valuable information, your experiences as well with us. Peter Adrian, thank you.
Thank you so very much for the opportunity. I feel so loved. I like the environment. It's
Thank
so
you, sir.
cutting edge. Thank you so very
much.
much.
Appreciate
Glad you
it.
enjoyed.
We'll be back in a moment, everyone. Stay tuned.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
Yo, what up? It's your boy and Richie right here at Studio 327. I'm here to give you the promo that you guys need because this is something special for St. Kitts. I'm telling you, tune in to Good Morning SKN, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and on Moment Channel 4. Also, I realize nobody else is doing this. Follow the Good Morning SKN Instagram at Good Morning SKN and the Studio 327 Inc. Instagram. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. This is pretty long, but follow us and yeah.
So it is time for us to loosen up. Today we will be speaking about our work-life balance. And when I say loosen up, I didn't do my thing, so I have to do it now. So most people around the world have a poor work-life balance. People spend most of their time working to... Okay. Okay. So I got it a little bit over myself. So most people around the world have a poor work-life balance. Do you believe that?
Ask most people. What they'll tell you.
I do not know, but the universe works with me. Like when we had the health professionals here, right? They were talking about giving kids healthy food and stuff. And I was looking at a mom, and she mixed up a bunch of vegetables and everything for a wee amount of spaghetti sauce, and the kid ate it and thought it was just a sauce. He didn't know all those hidden vegetables. She made a little TikTok video about that. And then a sleep situation came up where people in Japan are allowed to take naps at work, and then they can get back to work. And the employer said that their employees' productivity were very, very high. And I say that for two reasons. They are concerned, as they said, it honors them and it gives them dignity, because you show them that you care about them, and in doing that, they will in turn care about you. So there can be work-life balance.
At work, because you're napping on the job.
Yeah, you're napping on the job.
So not really, but yeah.
But it's just a period. You're not sleeping all the time, but it's generally just a period.
All right, so there's an assumption that people spend most of their time working to increase their income, to get a promotion, or to avoid losing their job, as opposed to working, spending their time otherwise. Is that a cause for, not leading a balanced life? Is that one of those things that informs that?
Sometimes we don't take a lunch break. We take homework. Or sometimes we just can't focus on work because we have family problems, we have sick kids, we have sick partners, etc., etc. So I think that once we leave work, employees should allow us to, in certain circumstances, because when this work can be continued tomorrow, it should be left for tomorrow. Employers should engage in making a policy that says once you leave work, no more work. So that's your family time. And then you too should put your foot down and be able to say, oh, no, I'm not doing any more work. This is my family time. I gave you 8 hours. I need to give my family at least 4 before they head off to bed. So I can't do any more work. So I think boundaries needs to be enforced so that we can have that work-life balance.
It works better for some types of jobs than others. It works better in some environments than others. It works better with some people than others. So those variables also need to be considered, especially when you're in a market where there are so many other people who can do your particular job. Then it becomes, I guess, important for you to, quote unquote, impress the employer with your performance so that you're not seen as replaceable. And in that way, it might also lead to this work-life balancing issue.
Indeed. So this says, when you spend too much time in the workplace, you'll start neglecting important people in your life. As I mentioned before, you're either spending too much time there, and then you come home, the kids are in bed, so there's no family time. Then on Saturday, when you can't spend family time, you have a deadline, so you're working again. And then you're like, no, I can't be bothered. Give me a second. And then the second ends up being no time again.
You see, the problem with this is that although it seems like it is a problem, the reality is that there are a lot of people who have to do this in order to maintain the standard of living that they have. And so while we're talking about coming home to the house and the children are in bed, the house is there because of the work. So how do you turn that off? Because you're paying the mortgage. And you're able to do that because of the job that you have, which requires you to work harder in order for you to maintain the life that you have. And when there are dependents, you can appreciate how those those are realities that a lot of people have. And so they're going to want to be working, not necessarily smart, but working hard. And there is a distinction, by the way, because a lot of people can work a lot of hours and not really accomplish great things. And a lot of other people can work less time, but the type of work that they do is such that they can then afford to take the additional time away. So it depends on, again, the level of work that you are performing, what's your output, but also the level at which you're working as well. And when I say the level, are you, at the ground level? Are you a temporary worker? Or are you up the chain somewhat? Because that allows you flexibility as well.
Wow, funny enough. And even you mentioned flexibility. So we realize COVID-19 allows for persons now to work from home. So although you can work from home, I think maybe some of your housework, your family time gets neglected, because it's like work becomes this entire thing. As you said, work pays the bill, work pays for the house, but then we still have to have some form of boundaries. Because imagine I'm going to work all day because I'm home. And if I was in the establishment, I would have left the establishment at 5 or a bit later, but knowing I had to get home. The fact that I'm home, I'm going to work extra knowing that, okay, I'm going to get this done at least. But I will neglect the other things that are important to me, including my family.
It depends, because work-life balance is important, but let's not get it twisted. We're talking about a balance. We're not talking about more work than life or more life than work.
But I'm saying,
that balance.
I don't think that sometimes people understand that there's a balance, because they go. As I said, they don't take their lunch hour. They go right through. They work to accumulate. But you have to take time for you.
Yeah, but when I say that as well, I'm thinking that we shouldn't see it as trumping life over work either, because there has to be that healthy balance.
Get that.
I think it's easily understood that when we say work-life balance, we go straight to you work too much, but there might be some people who don't work enough.
Yeah, but that's the next thing too. But then I'm still saying, you know, you have to have it. If you don't have it, then you're gonna shift to one side of the scale more than the other. So there has to be some middle ground right there. See, you need to take care of yourself and your well-being.
Definitely so, and you are the best one. You're in the driver's seat. You decide whether that is done or not. Other people just want the output from you, and they don't necessarily care or even know, you know, what it is that you need. You're showing up. You're an asset. We'll use you, and the harder you work, the more I see you. There's more visibility, and so there's that. How you say it, a hamster on a treadmill type vibe going on. So. And the gratification, you know, the payment, the promotion, whatever it is, and you keep going on that wheel, and you keep going on that wheel, and before you know it, your entire life is
done, and you didn't
off
have
the
that.
rails. But you are on the wheel, working hard. But are you working well? Are you living well? Well, those are questions. I don't have the answers. I don't want to answer them either. I will tell you that in terms of getting work-life balance, obviously you have to manage what we all do. We have to manage our time effectively. Don't fall for the gimmicks. There's a lot of competition in the market as to, you know, this allows me to manage my time better or whatever, and we get busy doing those menial tasks, and we're not really doing things well, if that makes sense. I don't want to impress myself by thinking that I'm working on, and I've got this notepad and everything is like, I had to do this at 8 o'clock, I had to do this at 9 o'clock, and there it is. And I'm organized, but I'm not really accomplishing anything other than making a note. Making notes. So what I'm saying is work-life balance, work well, cast the net wide if you can. That way you are able to be more productive in a limited amount of time, and you get more time to do what you need to do outside of work. Which is live well.
And with that said, GMSKN Nation, stay tuned. We have more for you after this short break.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
Good morning, SKN. Wagwan. Yo, it's Bensley Lad coming to you live from Jamaica. You see it already, see me? See me, I say Caribbean people stand up and I love this. This show is very important. You understand me? Yeah, man. Studio 327. Bensley Lad, it's a big up. See me I say, from the whole innocent crew. Yeah, man. More love.
Good morning. This is Kayana Paris and support from Paris, Vermont. I want to encourage y'all to sign on to Good Morning SKN every morning from 8 to 10 at Studio 327. Thanks.
Good morning, this is Carol from Lux Carnival, and I listen to Good Morning SKN.
If you struggle to stay calm under pressure, there are tools you can use to cope, which have many benefits. Here are some tips from Deakin University on how to stay calm when under pressure. First up, relaxation. And to relax, you can listen to music. You can even take a bath or do some deep breathing exercises.
Do some yoga.
And a whole lot more.
Plenty more.
I think breathing is, yeah, I breathe a lot, don't I? We all do, we're living, right? But you get me. Conscious breathing definitely calms at times.
Yeah, it helps. But sometimes you need to breathe and just walk away from certain things. So breathing is essential.
Run.
Indeed. So exercise. This will release endorphins and has both mental and physical benefits. And we know that. Once we exercise, we sleep better, we feel better, and we actually feel like we are progressing somewhat. So exercise is beneficial. And plus you work up a good sweat. Yeah.
All right. Use a mantra. All right, so that means that you can say a word such as relax or calm over and over in your head. Wow, that actually works.
You have to calm
saying
yourself.
Relax, so I'm hearing my voice saying relax, relax, as if I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
Or calm.
Stay calm. Stay calm.
Really?
Stay calm. You have to talk to yourself sometimes in situations, or else we're going to end up at 1840, and it's overcrowded already, so we don't need to go there. So we definitely.
Where's 1840?
We really
That's
need.
prison?
Yeah.
That means really, not everything leads there at all. All roads
Well, I'm
do not
just
lead
saying, you never know. You never know, because we don't want to go there, and we do not want to take up space at the facility at the hospital. That is not necessary. So we got to tell ourselves to relax and remain calm during certain situations.
Or drop cover and hold on because it's turbulent. There's a lot going on. And that too, that might work, right?
It could work. All right, so positive self-talk. So say things that reduce worry, such as, I can do this, or it will be okay. If I don't get it done, it will be okay, but I'll continue tomorrow, and so forth and so forth. So make things okay. Don't stress. It makes no sense to stress ourselves out. We just add worry, we add disease, etc., etc. And we don't want that. We don't want that. We want to live positive, healthy, productive lives.
And in tandem with that is maintaining a healthy lifestyle. That's important to do, and that involves eating well, getting plenty of sleep, and staying hydrated. I feel like you're a doctor, but anyway, yeah, all of that. I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on it. This came from Deakin University.
Yes. And pleasant events. So attend pleasant events. So keep making time for friends, family, and hobbies during stressful times. It works. You just go hang with your friends, have a little joke. It takes your mind off the situation until you're back with yourself again, and then you probably will begin to worry. But, you know, go out there, mingle, play games, have fun, and yeah, get a bit of stress relief. That's what I would say.
All right. Time management, also important. Time management is actually important so that you stay organized and that you don't take on too much. Sometimes you can, sometimes I guess everything comes in seasons. Yeah. So that might work as well for you if you give yourself a little slack for being too busy at certain periods, but you'll make it right when it's all said and done.
Yeah. So if you're studying, take a little break in between. don't take too much of a long one, then you go back. So you can even set an alarm so that when you're done with this little time, you have a little break for 20 minutes, your alarm comes back on to remind you to go back to studying or doing whatever you're doing. It works well. I have learned, once you manage your time, everything flows. Although there may be hiccups, but once time is managed, it normally flows.
All right, and time is going to flow to commercial. We'll be back in a moment.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Dreamy Decor specializes in flowers for all events, from birthdays to weddings and any other special occasion. What's a better way to express to the people you love than by providing the finest selection of beautiful flowers and gifts? So when you think of flowers, think of us, Dreamy Decor.
All right, thank you for joining us today for another edition of GMSK, and you guys in St. Martin who are watching. Thank you as well, and everyone who is watching as well online. Okay, so you have our contact information. Obviously, we're on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Good Morning. Studio 327 Inc. That's where we are, Studio 327 Inc. Instagram got me a little bit tricky because we have another page there. It's Good Morning SKN. So you can check us out there, like, subscribe, follow, share, and visit our website at www.studio327inc.com to learn more about GMSKN and Studio 327.
And I hope you learned a lot on today's program, including how to deal with folks who have bipolar disorder, and to understand that they're individuals just like us. They're smart like us, and they can do things like us. Things just happen a bit different for them. So leave us a comment and let us know what was your favorite part of today's show. And see you tomorrow, yes, on our Friday show, when you will wake up at 8 a.m., stretch, grab your coffee, turn on your device or your television, and start your morning with us right here at Good Morning SKN. As usual, thank you for watching. Spread a kind word and have a great day. Bye.